I got a DM recently saying that someone had been trying to do the marketing that I'd suggested and that had no one get back to them. And that's quite normal. So I want to talk about that. This person here, I dug a bit deeper, asked a few questions. They'd sent about 30 emails out and they hadn't had a single response. And to put that into context, if I email a 2,000 person mailing list who have all personally signed up to my mailing list, I get 3 responses. So I think it's important to talk about rejection and the level of rejection. And worse than rejection is almost being ignored. So, for example, I've tried to work with certain people for a very long time and they just completely blanked me, didn't even respond. And then 10 years down the line, they contact me wanting to work with me. Now, some people are like, isn't that annoying? And it's like, well, no, because when I was wanting them to work with me, I just wasn't good enough and I couldn't see that. I've done a video on the Dunning-Kruger effect, but at certain points in your life, you think you're good at stuff when really you kind of suck. And if no one's responding to you and if your marketing's not working and if reaching out isn't working, there are a few reasons for it. And I think it's worth noting these. One is bad timing. Maybe they have no work themselves. Maybe they're slammed with work and they've already got someone lined up. Or maybe they're slammed with work and they haven't even started looking for the photographer for that job. And they're going to do a panic thing at the next bit. And if someone happened to have emailed them who's not as good as you and is more expensive, the day they need it, they'll book them because we're often a panic purchase. Now, the next reason they're not getting back to you is I had someone recently, and I won't mention any names for this, of course. They said, look, I've contacted these people with this email. I had a look at the people they'd contacted. They were the wrong people. There were agencies who didn't specialize in the same sort of photography. There were agencies who had no real need for photography. They were just a list of agencies. There was no real in-depth research gone into who they were trying to contact. It's not as simple as just copying and pasting email addresses off the internet. You need to know who they are, what they do, who they work for. A lot of ad agencies, and especially design agencies, they don't even deal with photography. They get it in from somewhere else. And it's important to know that. Don't just go around blanket emailing people. Find the right people who hire photographers who also do the sort of work that you produce. So you can go, look, I know you shot for these people and had photographers in the past. I also do this sort of work. Here's what I do. So random emails to 2,000 people are useless. Emailing 2 people who you know will need your services is much more useful. Now, they might not want your services. They might not like your work. There's a whole other load of things in there, but you need to be a little bit more tailored in that. Now, the third thing is the tone of your email. I've had 4 people say they've used my email template and they've made a few alterations to it. And the alterations they made, although subtle, made them seem a tad arrogant, especially when put through to their about page on their website and it was written in the third person. You can make a really bad impression sending an email, and it's very difficult because you need to be confident. You need to make them believe that you know what you're doing. But there's a fine line between this, and I think it's very important to have somebody else read your letters first. Before you send something out, get somebody impartial to read it and say, do you think I sound like a nice person in this? You're probably a lovely person, but if you come across too blunt, too arrogant, too pushy, it's a real turn off, and people are just like, I don't want to work with that person, because if we're on a stressful job and I've hired them and then the people who've hired our ad agency are giving me grief and this person's a nightmare to work with, that's going to be horrendous. Let's find someone nice to work with. So it's very important to make sure that the tone of your email is good, is going to the right person. And the biggest thing of all is you need to make sure your work is good enough. And I've had so many people emailing me recently, and I understand the stress at the moment and the pressure. People who've gone in to become a photographer just before the pandemic and have then gone, oh, good Lord, I have no money left. I've spent 1.5 years living in isolation, spending but not earning. You're getting panicky, but this is the time you should be doing test shoots. I am testing every day that I'm not working, every single day. Homeschool in the day, testing at night. So I understand those people who've got jobs as well, because it is exhausting. I'm getting 6 hours sleep a night, but I have to do this right now until the economy picks up again. And it is so important to make sure that your work is good, your portfolio is good, and you've got all these things in place. So I hope this is of use to you, and I hope it sort of helps you understand the reasons for rejection. Sometimes you are the best person for the job, the nicest person with the best email, but the timing's just off. So give it a few months and contact them again. It took me years to get a specific photographic agent, and all of a sudden I had agents contacting me, and that wasn't because my work had suddenly got better. It just so happened to hit that point where everyone switched agents. The same with ad agencies. You'll find that every few years, the creative directors and art buyers all move around, and it's a very important time because 1, you need to move with that art buyer and creative director, and 2, you need to make sure that you land in the agency you were already in. So you sort of double your value rather than losing both. If you have any questions about getting work, contacting clients, anything like that, pop it in the comments below and I'll try and make future videos of it. I hope you're keeping safe. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.